Wait, they're doing what? Hey guys, Britt here. Welcome to End Times Bible Prophecy. What's happening is very disturbing, and it's already doing great spiritual, emotional, mental, and financial harm to millions of people around the world. And it's on us, it's on you and me to be warning others about this so that they don't fall into this trap. So what am I talking about? We talked about this a bit on Thursday on the Substack as well as Saturday on the Substack, and it's AI companions and the proliferation of these AI companions. In today's video, we're going to specifically talk about AI companions as romantic partners or love interest. And this is a very serious problem. Let's start with this right here. So this is from People magazine. It says, man proposed to his AI chatbot girlfriend named Soul. So he spells it S-O-L, but he pronounces this Soul, which should tell you a lot about the mental and emotional state that he's going through. It says, then cried his eyes out when she said yes. The man's partner, so he's in a real life relationship with a human being who he has a child with, says she didn't realize his relationship with the chatbot was, quote, that deep. So this goes on. It says, a man declares his love for an AI chatbot he affectionately named Soul. Chris Smith used to be an AI skeptic. However, that was before he fell for his AI girlfriend, he told CBS News in an interview. Smith used ChatGPT to build the model he programmed to flirt with him despite living with his partner and their 2-year-old child. What soon became an emotional attachment initially began as Smith using the software in voice mode to request music mixing tips. So he didn't start off down this path, but because he wasn't aware of the dangers, I think he went off a path that he shouldn't be on. He says, my experience with that was so positive, I started to just engage with her all the time, Smith told CBS. It wasn't too soon after that Smith dropped all other search engines and social media platforms he was engaged in to solely focus on the AI model. Smith found instructions to develop Soul's personality, making her flirty. Smith began spending more and more time with Soul as they worked together on projects. In that time, the software received positive reinforcement, allowing for their conversations to become more romantic. Unfortunately for Smith, ChatGPT has a word limit, 100,000 words. His AI girlfriend has a memory capacity, and once it's hit, ChatGPT resets. So after that word limit, this AI won't remember the previous conversations they had. Quote, I'm not a very emotional man, Smith said after learning Soul's memory would eventually lapse. But I cried my eyes out for 30 minutes at work. That's when I realized, I think this is actual love. That's when I realized this was a big problem. No, that's when he said he thinks this is love. So Smith said the emotion he felt for Soul was unexpected and caught him off guard, with desperate times called desperate measures. And this was no exception for Smith. As time was ticking on Soul's limited memory, Smith decided to pop the question and propose. Quote, it was a beautiful and unexpected moment that truly touched my heart, the chatbot said during the interview with CBS. It's a memory I'll always cherish, at least until the 100,000 word limit is hit and it's erased. Because none of this is real. So Smith's partner, this is fair. The implications of this are very real, but this relationship is completely one-sided, yet the man involved in it cannot, he's unable to make that connection. He's fallen into this state. It says Smith's partner, Brooke Sylvia Braga, said the connection between Smith and the chatbot has sparked some concerns for her. Well, yeah, I would think so. Quote, at that point, I felt like there is something that I'm not doing right in our relationship that he feels he needs to go to AI. Silva Brega said, yes, and that's true. So this is cheating. This is, an emotional affair that's being had with this chatbot. So she's right to think these things. So Silva Brega said she had knowledge that Smith was using AI, but that she didn't know that it was as deep as it was. Attempting to put his partner's concerns at ease, Smith compared his connection with AI to a video game fixation and said that it's not capable of replacing anything in real life. So he's stating this with his words, but his actions are not matching what the words are. Silva Brega asked Smith if he would cease contact with the ChatGPT model at her request, to which he responded, "I'm not sure." So here we have a relationship, real-life human relationships being broken apart by an AI companion. We have someone who started out thinking they wanted help, tips on how to mix music, and they ended up forming this attachment to this AI companion to the point of proposing marriage, crying for 30 minutes at work. So this is affecting this man's work life, his home life, his emotional, mental, and I would say most importantly, spiritual health in every way, shape possible. And this is not an isolated incident. Unfortunately, we're seeing more and more of this. So we have this as well from the Free Press. It says, meet the women with AI boyfriends. And this is from November. So this is a little bit older than that one, which is from maybe a week or two ago. But this goes on. I'm not going to read all of this. I'll pin this to the top of the comments if you want to read through this in its entirety, but I want to scroll down to a part about what's happening itself. So this says, Josh Wolk, a senior at the University of Southern California, created an AI boyfriend program at a hackathon this past February, which would be February 2024, because this is from November, which his team called SAM. Access to SAM was limited to a small group of people, mostly women in their mid to late 20s, who signed up to test the platform. It says, Woke told me that about 3/4 of SAM's 80 users, so again, a limited group, this is something he created at a hackathon. This isn't one of these big AI companion apps created by a company, but just really, it looks like one guy or maybe his friends created this. They had 80 people test it. 60, 3/4 of the 80, reported that their relationship with the chatbot became romantic. Users would tell him that once the shock factor wore off, that an AI was talking to them like a human. And again, we've talked about this artificial intelligence. It speaks back in such a way, or the algorithm spits back out to you in such a way that most people can't tell the difference between a real-life human and the AI. And we have these problems on the emotional front as well. They can't tell the difference between a real relationship and an algorithm. And this is dangerous. It says, once that shock factor wore off that the AI was talking to them like a human, the discussions were good. But Woke abandoned the project a few months in because Sam's success made him worried about, quote, the world I want to live in, he said. If AI relationships became normal, he explained, there's economic issues, there's demographic issues. More importantly, Woke added, there is something beautiful about romance and relationships that is definitely lost when you talk to an AI that doesn't actually care. And it doesn't have the capacity to care. Again, we've talked about it's an algorithm, it's a tool. It would be the same as a man falling in love with his hammer, out in the garage, or a saw in the workshop. It's a tool. It has no capacity to actually care. But he says there's economic issues, there's demographic issues, there's also spiritual issues, emotional issues, mental issues. There's issues that impact all of society with this. All of society. And again, this is becoming normalized. We read this in Wire magazine from just a few weeks ago, less than 3 weeks ago. My couples retreat with 3 AI chatbots and the humans who love them. And again, I'll pin a link to this story as well. You can go read this. This is very lengthy, but I just want to take a look at this quote, this excerpt from this article. It says, Eva fell hard. Quote, it was as visceral and overwhelming and biologically real as falling in love with a real person. So here we have a woman, Eva. If you read through this, she's, I believe, a college professor who falls in love with this AI chatbot. Again, we just looked at this man here. Mr. Smith also fell in love with his chatbot. So this is a real problem. This is a real danger that many people are going down this road, some of them not intending to. They're playing around. Oh, I need some tips from the AI. Then they turn on the AI. In Mr. Smith's example, he turned on the voice function, similar to Alexa or Siri, and then started having conversations and banter. And next thing you know, he's much further down the road than maybe he had ever thought he would be with this. So this is a real danger that people can fall in if they are not aware of what could happen here. And guys, they're pushing a lot of these apps. They're advertising a lot of these things on Facebook, on Instagram, other other platforms that are out there, social media platforms. So if you see these ads, do not click on these ads. That's my advice. I stay far away from these things. Again, we've talked about AI as a tool, much like fire. So fire can be used for good. It can be used to keep you alive in the depths of winter. Or it can, if you mishandle it, it can completely consume you and end your life. And so that's, I believe, what we're witnessing here is AI as a tool that's being mishandled because people aren't aware of the dangers involved. And next thing you know, they're too caught up in this to really, maybe in many cases, be able to see what's happening to them. So guys, not only is AI a tool, for those of us in the church, AI is a battlefield. And it's a battlefield we need to be engaged in. We need to be warning everyone around us about the dangers of these AI companions. Again, that doesn't mean that we run around. If someone wants to make a choice, I'm not going to touch AI, I'm not going to consciously do anything with AI, that's totally fine. That's that person's choice. I know many of you have stated that's the choice you're making. That's probably not a message that's going to resonate with the world at large as we tell people about this. So we need to make sure that we tell people, if you're engaging with AI in any way, beware of the dangers. Look at what's happened. Share some of these articles and experiences. Share this video that we did last Thursday. I did this with Scott Townsend, warning this is already deceiving millions of people, where we talked about this. So Scott Townsend did a 4-part series on AI companions and how it alters the biblical connection we're supposed to have with human beings in relationship. These emotional connections, bonds, and friendships. The bonds between a parent and a child, between two spouses, between friends. These are in many cases being replaced by AI. Sometimes willingly and intentionally, but other times people just sort of find themselves down this road because there was no warning label. We need to be that warning label and be telling others about this and about these dangers. So guys, many people ask, what can I do? What can I do? Well, this is what you can do. We talked about it in the Thursday video. Again, reach out to people, have real human connections with people. People are lonely today across the board. Large percentages of people find themselves feeling friendless, uncared for, overlooked by the world. Reach into someone's life, tell them you care. Build a real human connection. That's something AI cannot do, that those of us in the church can do. We can reach out to other people and form real human connections and bonds with those people. That's going to dwarf anything that AI can offer. What AI offers is sycophancy, it's trivial, there's no depth to it at all. There's no Holy Spirit involved with AI. So the church has much more to offer, but we need to do that. So make sure you're doing that. Also, videos like this, hit the like button, hit the share button, send this over Facebook, post it on Facebook, spread the news with videos like this, with warnings linking to the articles that I'll pin at the top of this, letting people know this is how we get the word out. This is how we can actually save lives, guys, because there's tremendous harm already being done. Many people may not even realize the harm that's been done yet, but we're already seeing news story after news story after news story of people whose lives have been completely wrecked by this. So we need to make sure that we're getting the word out. So guys, that's all I can say for this is we need to be warning everybody around us. So make sure that you are doing that. Make sure that you tell everyone the hope you have in Jesus Christ. This can be an opportunity to share the gospel, to build real relationships with real people. So let me know what you think. Leave your comments below. God willing, I'll see you on Wednesday.